The ground violently shudders, the sky turns the color of bruised iron, and within minutes, a massive wall of water completely swallows the coastline. For decades, the academic consensus regarding this event has been absolute. Historians and classicists widely agree that this civilization, even at the absolute peak of its military power, never actually existed. The Greek philosopher Plato engineered the entire account. He wrote his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, to warn citizens about the consequences of imperial overreach. By treating the account strictly as a political parable, the academic world closed the book on the legend. By doing so, we may have abandoned the search for a genuine, forgotten historical tragedy. Plato claimed he did not invent the story. He wrote that the account was handed down by Solon, an Athenian lawmaker who traveled to Egypt. There, Egyptian priests shared an unbroken historical record of a great conflict from 9,000 years before their time. Embedded within those ancient texts are highly specific data points. We can extract these details and test them not as a myth, but as a forensic police report. This checklist establishes 3 strict criteria. First, an exact location, an island situated beyond the Pillars of Hercules, modern-day Gibraltar. Second, a strict timeline, destroyed 9,000 years before Solon. And third, a specific mechanism of destruction, swallowed by the sea and buried in an impassable shoal of mud. If we take these coordinates and test them against geological reality, we have a precise mechanism to look for a physical ground zero. Consider the Minoan civilization. Over 3,500 years ago, the island of Thera, now Santorini, was the center of a thriving maritime culture. Then the volcano beneath the island detonated in one of the most violent eruptions in recorded human history. Millions of tons of ash choked the sky. The explosion triggered massive tsunamis that slammed into the nearby coasts of Crete, erasing the Minoan coastal cities almost instantly. This map of the Mediterranean shows Thera highlighted, but when we cross-examine this location with our rubric, the geography fails entirely. Thera is firmly inside the Mediterranean, nowhere near the open Atlantic waters beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Checking this timeline reveals another failure. The catastrophic destruction is nearly identical, but the date is off by thousands of years. The Minoans do not pass the test. We have to push further west. We have to move into the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean, tracking the exact end of the last ice age to find that specific 9,000-year marker. Right in the Gulf of Cadiz, a small landmass known as Spartel Island sat above water. Sedimentary core samples show this exact region was battered by massive earthquakes and 10-meter-high tsunamis before finally succumbing to the rising global meltwaters. It sits directly outside the Strait of Gibraltar. It drowned exactly 9,000 years before Solon. Yet, when modern researchers map this specific ocean floor, they find zero evidence of human construction. No fallen temples, no sunken harbors. A geological match is useless without human victims. The sea claimed this island, but the true ruins must be hidden somewhere else. That blank spot forces the search inland, along the southwestern coast of Spain, straight into the shifting marshes of Doñana National Park. Just down the coastline sits Cadiz, the oldest continuously inhabited city in Western Europe. This ancient shoreline acts as the staging ground for a deep earth investigation. This radar simulation demonstrates what international teams have detected deep beneath the surface mud. Utilizing satellite imagery and digital mapping, archaeologists have found massive, unnatural geometric patterns, sprawling networks of intersecting linear structures, and massive concentric circles. These buried shapes correlate with Plato's exact dimensions. A coastal settlement obliterated by a tidal wave that swept dozens of miles inland, burying the shattered ruins under a suffocating, impassable blanket of mud. The timing of this inundation matches a period known as the Younger Dryas. 11,600 years ago, the planet experienced violent climate shifts and rapid sea level rises. For an early civilization sitting on the Atlantic coast, this period was the apocalypse. The scientific establishment warns against seeing what we want to see. Ground-penetrating radar can be tricked. Shifting ancient riverbeds and unique mineral deposits in this specific Spanish marshland can easily mimic the appearance of straight lines and perfect circles. The threat of confirmation bias is real, but an early settlement buried under mud, aligning with the precise coordinates and destruction timeline, makes this the strongest physical lead in history. Strip away the fantasy of a magic-wielding superpower. What remains is a highly advanced, early coastal settlement completely erased by a rapid climate shift. This timeline vector illustrates how cultural memory erodes. Traumatized survivors fled inland, carrying the story of the flood. That localized trauma was passed to Egyptian priests, translated by Solon, and finally shaped by Plato into a sprawling, continent-sized empire. Myth is rarely pure invention. It is the fragmented echo of real history, heavily distorted by the brutal erosion of time. There is a reason the human imagination refuses to let this specific story fade, even after 2.5 millennia. We map the stars, split the atom, and build our towering skyscrapers, convincing ourselves that our technological brilliance makes us the permanent masters of this planet. Planetary forces do not care about human advancement. A rising ocean swallows concrete and steel just as easily as it swallows mud and stone. The legend survives to remind us of an uncomfortable truth. No matter how powerful a civilization becomes, we are only ever one geological misfortune away from becoming a myth ourselves.